Greetings lovelies, hi, it's Emmy. Welcome back to another Emmy Eats. Today I'll be eating the UK. So this enormous and very comprehensive package was sent to me by Mr. H. This package also included a selection of Walker's chips while they were doing a vote for a flavor campaign. So if you missed that video, I'll put that link down below. There are some very interesting, very British, I think, flavors. So thanks Mr. H so much for being patient for your video. This is part 1 of the video. Part 2 will come later because there are so many things to taste. Mr. H very kindly included a list of notes that describes some of the history of these things along with how to eat them. So, where do we begin? These are called Eccles Cakes, and Eccles is a suburb of Manchester. Looks like it's a homemade way of using spare pastry and combining them with fruit. It's lucky balls. Wow. It's good. They remind me a little bit of some of the flaky pastries you can find in Asia. A very thin, flaky pastry on the outside. Inside is filled with dried currants that have been rehydrated and sweetened. It tastes a little bit like raisins, but a little bit more tart in flavor. The textures are wonderful. The currants are chewy and sweet, and the outside is nice and flaky and tender. Delicious. So Mr. H included savory things as well, so I'll kind of go back and forth. This is made by Tracklements, and it's called Piccalilli. So I've had Piccalilli before. You can find it here in New England, and it's a blend of pickled peppers, a little bit sweet. Mr. H tells me that the British Piccalilli is quite different than American because it's made with cauliflower, and it has some Indian traditions in it as well because it's a little bit curried. So I'm very curious to see what this tastes like. So Mr. H says that Piccalilli is best served on very strong hard cheeses. So I have a piece of cheddar extra sharp cheese made by Cabot, which I adore. Ooh, it smells a little bit like mustard. It's very vinegary smelling, and it has this beautiful bright yellow color. Looks like there might be some turmeric or something in there. It has a very chunky texture, and let's try it on a piece of cheese. Very strong condiment. You really don't need much. It's very much like a pickle. It's tart and briny. It has some onion flavors in there, a little bit of pepper. I can't really detect any of the curry in it though. But it's delicious. It goes really well with the cheddar cheese in terms of the richness of the cheese. It cuts that with the acidity, and then you've got that both the sharpness of the vinegar and the cheese together. Fantastic. I really like that. This is called Soreen, and it's the original malt loaf. And this I love. It says deliciously squidgy energy. Squidgy, what a great word. This is a super sticky fruit loaf that's been around for ages. So here's the bread. It's a little misshapen. Smells great. Smells like molasses. As instructed, I have a bit of butter, and I will smear some butter on this before I eat it. Wow. What a great texture. It's very, very sticky and chewy. It's a bit like a raisin bread, but no cinnamon. It's got more of a molasses, brown sugar flavor, although it's not very sweet. But I think what really makes this is the texture. It has a really delightful stickiness and chewiness that you really kind of have to work, but it's delicious. I would love to try this toasted as well to see how that would change the texture. A little bit of crispness along with the chew. The butter really complements it as well because it makes it a little bit richer. In my Emmy Eats IKEA video, if you haven't seen that, I'll put the link down below. I tried a rhubarb drink, and I poured it in a glass, and I was told that I was supposed to dilute it. It was called rhubarb saft, I believe it was called, something like that. It was a syrup that you're supposed to add a lot of water to, and a lot of people responded that it's just like squash. Well, here in the US, we don't have squash. We just have drinks. We don't have any drinks that you need to be diluted, so that's kind of a new concept to me. So Mr. H very kindly sent me some squash, and this is apple blackcurrant, no added sugar, and like the rhubarb saft, you add it to water, and you can dilute it to your own taste. So this has really nice packaging. Let's give that a taste. So you tear it here. And blackcurrant, I've mentioned before, is not a very common flavor you find here in the US. In fact, I don't think you can find it at all. Now I'm going to squeeze it into my... Whoa! Look at that beautiful color. It looks like grape juice. This is delightful. So you just squirt how much you want, and then you can drink it. All right, let's give it a taste. I just put a little bit in there. Oh, it smells great. All right, here we go. Come by. Oh, that's great. And you really don't need much. You just need the tiniest little bit. It's very concentrated. I think I probably put in, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon in this, maybe 4-ounce glass of water. And it's great. It's sweet and has a really nice blackcurrant-y flavor. This says it's apple blackcurrant. I really don't taste much of apple. I suspect the apple is what they use to sweeten it. And I definitely taste the blackcurrant, which is a really lovely flavor. That's a little bit difficult to describe, but scrumptious. Sorry if you hear my tummy grumbling. I have a new audio recording system, and it tends to pick up my stomach activity. Look at this beautiful thing. It's a beautiful giant jar of Marmite XO. So it's XO meaning extra old. I've tasted both Marmite and Vegemite before. My Vegemite video I'll put down below, and my Marmite video I'll put down below as well. The Marmite I had was actually from New Zealand. This is from the UK. It says very cheekily in the back, store in a cool, dark, secret place. For those of you that are not familiar with Marmite or Vegemite, these are spreads that are made from yeast extract, which originally were leftover remnants from the brewing process of making beer. This is best served on buttered bread or toast, I've been told. So I have a piece right here. So if you've never had Vegemite or Marmite before, the trick is to put it on very, very thinly. It is very salty and concentrated. This looks much stickier than either the Vegemite or the Marmite that I've had in the past. All right, here we go. Wow. It tastes a little bit more like Twiglets, which I actually didn't like. Twiglets, I'll put the link down below, was a snack that looked kind of like tree branches. I actually didn't like it, but I like this. It definitely is more bitter. You taste that initially, a little bit more like tobacco or coffee, and then it kind of mellows out as you eat it, and then it sweetens up and ends with kind of a soy sauce finish. Really good. If you've never had this before, I recommend applying it very, very sparingly because it is quite strong. Next time I would probably add even less than this, even though I quite like it. So Mr. H also included sweets from his childhood as well, including this. This is a Cadbury Fudge, and it says 25p, 25 pence. There's a little jingle that went with it, and the jingle says, "A finger of fudge is just enough to give your kids a treat." If I can open it, goodness. And indeed, it's a little bit of chocolate, and it looks a lot like a Twix bar. It smells great. Let's give it a taste. Now that's surprising. It's white inside, and it has a really nice chew to it. It's vanilla'd and chewy. It has a hint of chocolate. Quite sweet, but delicious. I love it. This is something that's interesting. This is called Branston Pickle. I've never heard of this before. And what does he say about this? So this is a pickle or a relish or a chutney. So let's give that a taste. Ooh, it smells like A1 steak sauce. So let's put some on this piece of cheddar cheese. It's quite good on the cheese. The cheese has got a really sharp bite and really rich and cheesy. And the pickle is tart, and it does taste like a lot like A1 steak sauce. It has that little bit of spicy complexity to it, definitely vinegary and tart. And then you get some of these onion flavors in there as well. Delicious. I think this would actually go really well with a steak or a nice piece of meat as well. Delicious. Very complex flavors. So we have a couple more sweets, and Mr. H included After 8, which I adore, but I've never seen this packaging before. So After 8s, for those of you that don't know, are little dark chocolate candies that come in a little square, thin wafer with a beautiful peppermint filling. The outside is all dark chocolate, and inside we've got this gooey, pepperminty filling, which is scrumptious. I love it. The dark chocolate goes really nicely with the cool peppermint filling, a little bit bitter and not overly sweet. Fantastic. I love it. But I do have to say, I think I like the After 8 mint in the, After 8 in the thin form better. There's, I think, a little bit more elegance to it. A nice little thin snap. But the taste is identical. It's just a little bit different kind of crunch experience, but still fantastic. And lastly, we have this. It's called Fisherman's Friend. And Mr. H tells me that fishermen used to have these lozenges on the ships. Mr. H explicitly told me to eat this last because it has a very strong flavor and can affect your palate. They're thin, ovate wafers that are brown. And they're very similar to Altoids in the kind of chalky nature of them. Different flavor though. Very strong mentholated flavor. Very intense and cooling. I love it. And I can see now why Mr. H, you asked me to eat this last. So the flavors are both menthol and eucalyptus. It reminds me a little bit of like when you're sick in terms of a cough drop. Very strong, but sort of perfect for the end of the meal. It kind of clears both your sinuses and your palate. Delicious. So that ends the first part of this UK tasting. Be sure to tune in for the second part, which includes more very uniquely British things. So yeah, thanks so much, Mr. H, for sending me this package of great things. I'm super excited to eat the second half. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy that. I hope you guys learned something. Don't forget to sub if you're not subbed already and you'll never miss a video. And yeah, let me know if you've ever had Branston Pickle before, or if you like Marmite. And if so, what do you eat them with? I want to know. Alright, thanks you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you in my next video. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Greetings lovelies, hi, it's Emmy, welcome back. I hope you guys had a restful and lovely holiday, and enjoying the rest of 2014. Go!